So the Kraken just did something that's actually quite smart. They've, through some trickery, found a way to get Shane Wright into the AHL. This will need a bit of backstory though, so let me explain. It's not controversial to say that Shane Wright has not been finding success at the NHL level yet. The player who was projected at one point as a clear first overall has just 1 assist in 7 games played. Even more indicative of his poor play is the fact that he's got just 1 shot during that time. That being said, Shane Wright is not playing a whole lot either. According to RotoWire, not only is he getting just over 8 minutes of playtime a game, but he actually has the lowest average ice time of all regularly active skaters. So it's clear Shane Wright needs more development, maybe an entire year or 2. Ordinarily, in a situation like this, a player would simply be sent down to the AHL. And it's increasingly common that new players to the NHL need that time. That's not concerning. However, Shane Wright cannot be sent to Seattle's AHL affiliate because he was drafted from the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League, our junior league. And the NHL has an agreement that players sent down will go to the CHL until they turn 20. There are other rules too. For example, he can't play in the NCAA, because he signed a professional NHL contract, so he's not amateur. And generally, being sent down to the CHL would be fine for continued development. The Shane Wright situation is somewhat unique though. For one, it seems like the team is not comfortable with him going back to Kingston, perhaps because of issues with his development. However, his CHL rights can't be traded until January. Apparently, Shane Wright also just doesn't want to go back to the OHL. He likes being with the pro team for practices, at the weight room, etc. Now, definitely he could dominate at the OHL level, at least we hope, but that doesn't seem to be what he wants. And I mean, there is something to be said about being in the NHL environment, but he's been scratched a ton now. That takes me to what the Kraken are doing. Although Shane Wright cannot be sent down like a two-way player, he can be sent down for a conditioning stint. Basically, if a player is scratched 5 games in a row in the NHL, regardless of any CHL limitations, they can be sent down to the AHL for 14 days. This is mostly for players recovering from injuries or time away who need usually just a game, but the rules allow it to be used in situations like this. However, the timing here actually works out really well. He's got 14 days down with the AHL where he'll be playing around pros and getting a lot more ice time. Then, as pointed out by this Reddit comment, he'll come back for a game against the Habs, he'll get to play in the World Juniors, then the CHL no trade period lifts and he can move somewhere else in the OHL. And I think this was a really good scenario. In my opinion, some people were really overstating how bad this was for Shane Wright's development. I don't believe random people on Twitter know what's best for the player when compared to Seattle's front office. My question is, after all of that plays out, will Seattle burn a year off his entry-level contract? For those who don't know, when you're drafted to the NHL, you're put on a standard 3-year entry-level contract. The first year can be extended if the player does not play 10 games. Anyway, definitely a bit of a messy situation. I understand why the CHL wants this rule to exist. Having Shane Wright back down to junior will put butts in seats wherever he plays. However, I think everyone agrees that there needs to be some exception to the AHL exclusivity, just in the best interests of the player. Anyway, that's all for this. I do want to briefly mention something in today's earlier video about torts. Some of you are frustrated that I didn't fully explain why Tortorella was laughing at the end. I promise, I didn't do that on purpose. That's kind of the consequence of how I record videos. I don't script it, sometimes I have notes, but I just talk. I thought I had properly set it up so you would all understand, but I wasn't trying to clickbait you. I mean, I could have went more in depth and it wouldn't have made the video any less attractive. So, sorry if you got frustrated, but I promise it wasn't my intention. Anyway, that's all from me. See you next time.